Up next, it's SpongeBob SquarePants on Toons. Now it's time for SpongeBob SquarePants on Toons. There's more SpongeBob SquarePants after the break on Toons. You're watching SpongeBob SquarePants on Toons. Up next, it's SpongeBob SquarePants on Toons. Now it's time for SpongeBob SquarePants on Toons. There's more SpongeBob SquarePants after the break on Toons. You're watching SpongeBob SquarePants on Toons. Up next, it's SpongeBob SquarePants on Toons. Now it's time for SpongeBob SquarePants on Toons. There's more SpongeBob SquarePants after the break on Toons. You're watching SpongeBob SquarePants on Toons. Up next, it's the Loud House on Toons.
Now it's time for the
Loud House on Toons.
There's more The Loud House.
After the break, on Toons. Now we're back to the Loud House on Toons. Up next, it's Alvin and the Chipmunks on Toons. I can't do it. Now it's time for Alvin and the Chipmunks on Toons. We've got more from Alvin and the Chipmunks after the break on Toons. Now we're back to Alvin and the Chipmunks on Toons. Up next, it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on Toons. Now it's time for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on Toons. There's more Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles after the break on Toons. You're watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on Toons. Up next, it's Sanjay and Craig on Toons. Now it's time for Sanjay and Craig on Toons. There's more Sanjay and Craig after the break on Toons. You're watching Sanjay and Craig on Toons. Next, it's Bunsen is a Beast on Toons. Now it's time for Bunsen is a Beast on Toons. There's more Bunsen is a Beast after the break. Now it's back to Bunsen is a Beast on Toons. Up next, it's Breadwinners on Toons. Now it's time for Breadwinners on Toons. There's more Breadwinners after the break on Toons. You're watching Breadwinners on Toons. Up next, it's Rocket Monkeys on Toons. Now it's time for Rocket Monkeys on Toons. Up next, it's Fairly Odd Parents on Toons. Now it's time for Fairly Odd Parents on Toons. There's more Fairly Odd Parents after the break on Toons. You're watching Fairly Odd Parents on Toons. Up next, it's Get Ready on Toons. Get ready! It's time for Get Ready on Toons. There's more Get Ready after the break on Toons. You're watching Get Ready on Toons.
Hey, it's nearly time for Honey Weeks. Up next on Toons. It's time for Honey Weeks. Early on Toons. What else?
There's more Honey Weeks after the break on Toons. You're watching
Honey Weeks
on Toons.
Up next, it's Special Agent Also on Toons. Now it's time for Special Agent Also on Toons. There's more Special Agent Also after the break on Toons. You're watching Special Agent Also on Toons. You're watching Special Agent Also on Toons.